Joining me now is Rose Metro with Moms Demand Action. So Rose, let's just start from the basics here. Explain to me your stance on gun control.
Well, at Moms Demand Action, we prefer not to use the term gun control. We prefer gun sense, because what we support is common sense measures that will keep everybody safer. And those include universal background checks for people buying guns, closing the terror gap, the loophole that allows people on the terror watch list to purchase firearms, and reasonable limits on where guns can be carried in public.
Good deal, good deal. So Rose, let me ask you, have you personally been affected by an incident involving a gun?
No, thank goodness.
Fortunately, right?
Right.
Okay. So what changes, if any, would you like to make to Missouri gun laws?
Well, one change would be to institute universal background checks, including gun shows. Another would be to veto SB 656, which the legislature passed in May, which is permitless carry and stand your ground. And permitless carry allows anyone who can legally purchase a gun to carry it concealed in any public place where firearms are not banned. So that's a real loosening of our current laws. And that's going to endanger all of us, because without training, people may not be prepared to take on that responsibility. So right now, we have a system of training people who are going to carry concealed weapons, and this law dismantles that system. It also allows people who may be violent criminals to carry guns in public. For instance, repeat drunk drivers are able to purchase a gun, but those people, as well as people who have been convicted of violent misdemeanors, would be able to carry a concealed weapon in public.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that. That would have been my next question, is explaining what that legislation was. So you're making my job very easy. So my next question is then, what would you have to say to people who argue that tightening gun rights actually hurts law-abiding gun owners?
I would say that research supports the idea that reasonable limits, such as universal background checks and having permits for people who are going to carry concealed weapons, make us all safer.
Okay. So here's another question we asked our audience in our survey. Do you believe assault rifles should be banned? We're talking about the big AR-15s. Do you think they should be banned, and why?
Well, the organization that I'm a supporter of, Moms Demand Action and Every Town for Gun Safety, does not currently support an assault weapons ban. And the reason for that is that we're a research-driven organization, and the research shows that actually what will save more lives is universal background checks, and that limits on specific types of guns are not as effective.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So if you could sit face-to-face with someone with the NRA or another pro-guns right group, what would you want to say to them?
I would say, first of all, I support the Second Amendment and people's right to own guns. That's part of our Constitution, and that's something that we all cherish. At the same time, we want to use those rights in ways that are responsible and protect everyone.
Okay. So do you believe there's a connection between gun control and the recent attack in Orlando?
We're still learning about the shooter who committed that act. He may have been on some kind of terror watch list. So closing the terror gap would be one thing that we could do to make sure that people like him do not have access to firearms. Of course, we're not going to prevent every mass shooting, but there's a far greater toll. Every day, 91 Americans are killed due to gun violence. That overshadows the death toll of any mass shooting. So we really want to focus on that everyday toll as well as these high-profile incidents.
Okay. Well, Rose, that's all the questions I have, but is there anything else you'd like to add that I didn't necessarily ask you about?
We urge Governor Nixon to veto SB 656, the permitless carry and stand your ground, which would make all Missourians in danger.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's our time for now. Thank you, Rose.